Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Jared is on that fast. Wow. All right, dude. We're here.
We're
We
here.
are really live on the internet universe, spreading on all the streams, and we are gonna rock.
Everywhere. We're even on the new platforms. We're on the platforms people are thinking about getting on right now.
All of them. Very excited to have you, brother. I think this is going to be an incredible 25, 30 minutes of power-packed education about how to utilize creative financing in your real estate space, how to start building wealth with creative financing. For those that are just jumping on, if you can do me a massive favor, let me know your name, the market you're in, and the level of experience you have in the real estate space. And while you are doing that, I'm going to introduce one of my best friends in the entire planet, one of the most successful people I know in the entire planet. Mr. Brett Tanner is here to drop some fire. What's up, dude?
Thanks, man. It's been a long time. We had a long time we hadn't seen each other, and now we're connecting daily. Now we got to get an apartment together. We got to start.
It's on.
We need to move in together, basically.
Roommates. I say we go to Belize and just stay there.
I don't know if you saw, I got a jet board, so that's the first requirement to go.
That is.
Love having you, and thanks. Love everything you do in the space. So honored to be here, man. Super excited.
Appreciate you, bro. Well, I want to give you the mic, so to speak. For those that are just joining us, Brett Tanner is going to be one of the famed speakers at the Wealth Accelerator event. I asked him to do me the honor to be able to help you guys understand how to take a transactional business and build wealth out of it, because it's really neat and cool to make a whole lot of money. Brett and I will both agree to that. But if you're not intent on building wealth, you're missing the ball here. And I can tell you, I'm the first to say I missed the ball for about a decade, Brett. Yeah, I'm sure you know that about me, but all I cared about was the monies, which was cool. But building wealth is way cooler. And Brett is probably one of the smartest people I know. So if you're not yet signed up to go to the Wealth Accelerator, go to wealthacceleratorevent.com. And you are going to be seeing myself, Ken Clothier, Brett Tanner, Greg Herleen, Cody Sperber, Nick Perry. I mean, the event is going to be great. So this is going to be your introduction to Brett. And Brett has done something that I idolize, quite honestly. He's built a model that not only gives him a whole lot of income, but is amassing him a massive amount of wealth in the real estate space. And so, dude, thank you again. I'm super excited about Scottsdale. That's going to go crazy, but I'm going to hand over the mic to you, my friend, so you can kind of drop some knowledge about everything you're doing.
Thanks, man. I appreciate that. A very, very kind intro. Really quick background. I got licensed in 2005. So not kind of totally unlike a time like today. I actually was a real estate investor. I was flipping homes, and I got my license just to do my own deals. You know, when the market was going right like this?
Yeah.
Right there, I got my license like right there. I mean, Cody, you know all too well in Phoenix, right? Feels like just like today. You're like, oh, I don't know how this works. I'm like, oh, I know exactly how this works.
Yeah.
So, and then everything went to shit. And that's what happened in the real estate business. I almost left the real estate business. And by 2011, I was the number 9 agent in the country, number 3 with my firm, Keller Williams, the biggest firm in the country at that time. And so had a lot of success. And I think, Colby, to talk about wealth building, I think that you gave a really good intro there, which is I think people got to start thinking less about the income they make. Don't get me wrong. We all want to make a lot of money in terms of earned income. There's nobody that says, oh, I don't want to make a lot of money. However, I think you got to get a lot more excited about the passive income versus the earned income. Like for a long time for me, I would rather get $10,000 a month passively coming in than make another $1 million a year in earned income. And I think most people wouldn't choose that, right? I think most people say, no, I want $1 million. Like, yeah, but I got to go do stuff to get that $1 million.
That's
and
right.
If I want money coming in, because if I can get another 10 grand this year, can I get 20 next year, 30, 50? And what really changed my life was building up really, really significant amount of passive income.
Yep.
And it gave me the freedom to choose the work that I did, how I did it, who I did it with. And I'm blessed to have some really large companies in the real estate space today. But I want to talk about wealth building. And so I think that, I'd love to see comments on the side as we go through this. How many people have a detailed 30-year wealth plan? Like, hey, I want to be worth $50 million 30 years from today, $300 million 30 years from today? How many people have it that granular? You just type, yes, I have a plan. I'm nailed. By the way, if you got it all nailed, you can just jump off and
forget us little kids. You're nailed. You're dialed in.
You're nailed. I don't have a lot we can offer you. So
that's it.
By the way, I think it starts there. What's your number, right? And there should be some why behind it. Like if Colby, the number's 300 million, why? Like, what does that do for you? Does that get you 5 beach houses and a jet? Cool. Like whatever your thing is. But so specifically, where do I want to be at some point in the future? And I would encourage everybody to start with what's a really big number? Pick a really, really big number and drop that 30 years from now. Then I would go like, well, where do I need to be next year to be on track to hit my 30-year number? And I think whether it's health, fitness, relationships, or whatever, people miss the bar. They don't realize until it's too late, right? Most people, like when you get to the point of like you're 65 years old and broke, that's a really tough time to start figuring it out. Like we could do stuff and we could get there, but wouldn't it be better if we figured it out now? And so the key is daily awareness, right? If you want to improve any area of your life, fitness, I don't know, step on the scale every morning and see which direction it's going, right? Quickly we can make changes. And so wealth's no different. Like fitness, it takes a long time to get it going, right? You go to the gym today. It's my first day at the gym today, Colby. If it was my first day and I go crank it out, probably not going to have 6-pack abs tomorrow, right? It's going to take like a second. Well, money's the same way. It takes time to get going. So we've got where we're going to be 30 years from now. Well, what's my monthly check-in, right? My net worth statement online for my goal. And so in our, Colby and I talk a lot, but we've really kind of developed these 7 pillars of wealth. So the first pillar, he's talked about it. What's your plan? By the way, you can't be worth $50 million with a $5 plan. Okay. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, if you don't know your number and you don't know where you're at. So the easiest thing to figure out, number one, what's your net worth right now? You should know it literally to the number. Okay. And you should know, by the way, where should you be? If you don't know your net worth, I'll just tell you really honestly, people can get pissed off or not. You're not in the game. If you don't know the number, you're not even in the game. Right? What's your passive income monthly? If you don't know the number, you're not in the game. I don't care if the numbers are 0 or negative. Fine. We can build a plan. But if you don't know the numbers, you can't play. So first thing, do you have a plan? Let's get and figure that out. I'm happy to share some stuff back, Justin, with you, and you can share with your audience however you want to do that.
Yep.
So second level of this, anything else? Should we go there for a second, Justin? Should we keep going?
Yeah, I mean, I say we have about 30 minutes, brother. So I know you could light it up for a while. I would say.
I was just saying, anything else on the wealth plan? I mean, anything else?
Yeah, I mean, people are loving this. I think it's a big thing I know you said it in a very funny way, but like if you have a $5 plan, then don't throw out a $300 million number, right? I mean, that's the reality is people think too small. And what I will tell most of you watching, and again, if you're new to Brett, again, one of the most financially successful, business successful, relationship successful people I know. But he doesn't think small ever. He may start small because he's a realist and realizes it might take a little time and some progress to catch up. But man, I'll tell you, if you don't think bigger, you're not going to be hitting the mark, right? Because to his point, you can't have a $5, plan that can reach 300 million net worth. So think bigger. I would tell you that. That's huge.
Well, and like we're talking here, you got to get in the rooms around people that are doing stuff, right? I entered the debt space. You and I know I only entered the real seller finance debt space, and we're going to talk about a minute ago. I only went hard at that 3 years ago. Mm-hmm. But what did I do? I found the 2 people that were the foremost authorities on that space, spent the money, spent an entire day with them, read every book and publication that exists on the subject of seller financing, and then went to work on doing it. And started by doing 1, and now I'm on the road to doing 1,000 notes. But it started there. So number 1, I had a plan. You got to get the right room. So next, I think about wealth. I think about what are your protections, right? Why are people not wealthy? Number 1, they're not protected. So what they have an insurance, dumb things. I don't have health insurance. Well, if you don't have health insurance, that's going to be the thing that takes you up. Do you have disability insurance? If you were to get hurt and couldn't work, right? The next level of wealth building is just insuring against bad stuff that might happen to you or your family so that it doesn't wipe you out and take you to 0, right? So, and
protect the downside, right? That's another way of saying you protect your downside.
You have to have, like, there's a good, I think you know him, but Scott, I mean, I guess I probably shouldn't say anything, but you probably would know him. He's in my world. You definitely would know him. And good buddy of mine, private client of mine. And he ended up, we were debating on him getting a disability insurance policy. And I said, dude, I think that you not getting it, I think it's, you're putting your family at risk. I mean, I don't know any other way to say it. And I think that's just, it's very selfish of you.
Yeah.
And he argued me and debated, and he ended up getting it. Guy had a hunting accident where he blew his hand off. Like literally his hand like just came off. Like it was a muzzle loader, 2 shells got loaded, bomb, hand goes off. Evacuated, flight for life, thought he was going to die. Okay.
Jeez.
He's out of work for 6-9 months, and his disability policy paid him $15,000 a month. Now he's a wealthy guy, so it's not like it hurt him. But I mean, how nice is it to have 15 grand a month dropped in every single month? What if he'd have been out for 5 years or 10 years? I mean, it covers you forever. But that's a choice that we can all make monthly, right? To insure against bad outcomes. So I think that the next level of wealth building, like you said, what's my downside? Like if you don't have health insurance, if you don't understand your health insurance policy, do you understand your auto insurance? Like most people don't realize that they get in an accident, their auto insurance doesn't do any of the things they think it does. Right? They've got coverage. Not that auto insurance is a super sexy wealth building topic, but if you've got garbage coverage and you mow someone over today on the drive home, you're toast. You're done. Right? So that could definitely be an impediment of wealth. So we think about insurance. How does that work? Next, if you're a high income earner, and you and I've talked about this a ton, Colby, which is taxes. Your biggest expense as a business owner that you get very little benefit from, especially the more money you make and the more wealthier you become, is taxes, right? You don't like get an award. Look, Elon Musk doing more, Bill Gates, whatever your feelings are, those guys are trying to change planet. Bill Gates is trying to eradicate all the diseases. Elon Musk is trying to make us an interplanetary species, and people hate him. Like you're mad at two guys that are trying to change the world because they became really successful. So taxes become your largest expense, and no one's rooting you on by paying more taxes. So what is your plan to systematically reduce your taxes legally? By the way, the regulations of the government, it's a playbook. It tells you exactly what you should be doing.
That's right.
To lower your tax bill. They incentivize it, right? Yep. The reason why you get a deduction for depreciation, it's not a real expense on a house. They want all of us investors to own homes, to provide housing. When the government wants to put more solar, what do? What do they do to get everybody doing solar? They give you a tax incentive credits for solar, for energy. Anything the government wants us to do, it's a playbook for things you should be doing. So what is your systematic way as you're building wealth to reduce taxes? And do you have a way that you think about it? I mean, this is a 10-hour discussion, but do you, I mean, if you're like I was back in the day where you're like 10 years ago, I'm like, I just pay a lot of taxes. It's super annoying and I have no idea how it works. And I just pay a bunch of tax. Okay. That's a really stupid plan. And that's the plan I have. So you need to, by the way, taxes aren't that complicated, right? You know, you got to figure out, well, how do I get more expenses, like things in my life? How would I change those to be business expenses? If Colby and I go out and we're going to have dinner, we talk about work as you and I had dinner last week.
Yeah,
that's a business expense, right?
Yes.
If you and I want to go do something really cool, we bring someone as a client, we can go race Ferraris. That's a business expense. Like you can do stuff and create a business expense. If you go to one location while you're a traveler, if you buy a condo there, now you're travel. So the different ways to think of like, how do I take expenses that I have and make those business expenses? So that's our third pillar, is just tax management. What's your strategy? Who are you working with? If your CPA won't let you write off the things that Colby and I talk about, get a new CPA. You're not like married to the person, right? Not everyone's great, but do you actually have good advisors in that arena? And so the fourth thing I start thinking about, self-management. How are you living your life? And are you living in a way that creates, wealth, business success? One thing that I'm known for is I live a year out. And so Justin's like, hey, can you jump on this Facebook thing? I think you're a little surprised. Like, hey, dude, I got some time today. Let's jump on.
Shocked, by the just so we're all clear, shocked.
Normally someone's like, hey, can you do this? I'm like, yeah, let's do April 3rd. Let's do June 5th. I'm wide open. Exactly. Because I live a year out. So I've planned every trip, both work and personal, in the next 12 months out. I literally live and not only booked like on a calendar, which I could, there's no way for me to do that without tearing that off the wall. But so I have this 6 foot wide by 3 foot tall calendar. It's laminated, and I start putting all my trips on it. Now, of course, I have a digital calendar, but it just allows me to look at a glance. What do I got going on? So I start my year, and I start blocking off, Colby, where am I going? What's the fun stuff I'm doing? Right? Taylor and I've got 3 little kids. I got a beautiful wife. We sit down and we block off like 12 weeks a year. We're doing the most epic things on the planet. And
I was just going to say, guys, you have to understand, this guy doesn't go to like Disneyland and call it a vacation. This guy quite literally is in Punta Mita, Mexico. He's in Belize. He's in the Maldives. He's in like literally, and I think it's more than 12 weeks. I think you
I start at 12. No, I start. That's
Yeah.
my jump off point, right?
Yeah.
And so I'm not saying that to brag, by the way. And what it's funny is that the more time I took off, the more money I made. And it was being purposeful about when am I gone, right? So I block those times off. Then I say, well, when am I going to get better? Right? This is how I start my year every year, same way. When am I get better as a human being? Like, what events am I going to go to? When am I get better at my craft as a real estate investor or a business person? And those are multi-day events that I participate in. So I block all that off. I not only block it off, I book all the flights, all the hotels, and I pay for it all. And for me, the most critical part was the last part, because if I didn't pay for it, I'd cancel. I don't know how you, Justin. I get close to it. Like if I have a trip on my calendar, it's not booked and paid for, early I get close. Oh, can't go. Got work stuff going on. Can't go.
That's it.
Cancel.
For sure.
You book and pay for it where it's not refundable. It's like, this is annoying. I'm going to go. I got to go.
That's right.
And you learn how to work. And I'm not one of those guys that goes somewhere for 2 weeks and you just turn your phone off and disconnect and never look at your phone. You need work life. That's all bullshit. It doesn't work. The reality is if you have a really small life, if you could turn your phone off for 2 weeks, and this might piss some people off, Justin, I'm sorry. If you could turn your phone off for 2 weeks and nothing blows up, your life is very, very small. It just is.
I'm going to agree.
Because within 24 hours, I'll tell you, stuff happens in my life. So I get up in the morning, get up early, rattle out my 2 or 3 hours. Then I go spend the whole day at the beach. I check in at the end of the day to see if some fire's burning I need to put out. But start living a year out and build rituals into your life, right? So self-management from just all those things of how do I want to live in a way that makes the wealth worth it, right? So we're out running hard to make money. How am I creating that passively? And then how am I living a really, really cool life?
I love it.
Because I don't think you want to wake up. And for me, there's been times where I've been grinding, but I didn't want to wake up and just grind for grinding's sake. There was a purpose for me, and it was to do really cool things with my family. So now the fifth pillar I'll just chat about briefly, which is how do we increase business efficiencies, right? So your business, the way I look at it, there's only one purpose in your business, and it's to create cash, right? We can build some enterprise value and maybe sell it, but large part, most of our businesses as real estate investors, we're just building cash. So the most efficient way we can do that, right? We want to get the most cash so we can dump it into stuff that pays us passively so we can go do the cool things I talked about earlier. Yep. And there's a number of ways to do that. But like one of the key ways is you got to know every number of your business inside and out. I mean, Colby, you talk a ton about KPIs. And if you do not know the core things that drive your business, you're not going to be able to scale. You're not going to be able to create wealth. Because just like there's KPIs in your business, there's KPIs to your wealth. Same thing. And you got to know every number inside and out. So if you're like me, I was blessed that I grew up in the poorest county of Colorado. I'm borderline illiterate. I was raised in the worst environment for education possible. I went to college. They're like, day one, all that stuff you're supposed to know. They're like, you should know all this stuff. It's like, I've never even seen these concepts. What is this? Is this a foreign language? No, this is fundamental math. Okay.
2 + 2.
I gotta get out of here. So, but I didn't have this background, right? So I had to learn accounting, a P&L. I had to learn those things. Like if you are in business and you do not understand gross margin, net margin, cost of goods sold, and expenses, then you need to figure that stuff out. And there's really good books, training. You could be a wizard on YouTube for free. Get around someone that knows that stuff. Because you cannot scale your business to create more cash if you do not understand basic economics.
Mm-hmm. And
when you agree, Colby, like we're not talking 40 numbers on a P&L. You need to understand 3.
Right. I agree.
No, go ahead.
Well, I think the key transition between making a lot of money and then creating wealth is understanding the numbers. Because if you can understand how much revenue you're bringing in, real revenue versus what's an expense or what's an actual cost, and you can say gross margin versus what's putting in my pocket. Most people love to look at the top line, but they don't understand that's meaningless. And I learned that the hard way back in 2012. I had a major multi-7-figure year, and I said, I put $90,000 in my pocket. Oh my God. If you knew that, you would have hit me upside the head and said, we're done. Our friendship's over. What happened to you? And it's just so paramount to understand. These are the little things that over time you need to learn. Now, I want to make sure everyone's clear here. Brett didn't just wake up and have all this downloaded. He's invested probably close to $500,000 in your own education to understand these things, if not more, right? He's read every book known to man on these concepts. He's been a massive student over the last 10 to 15 years in this game to get to where he's at in the real estate business, right? So don't get overwhelmed by the concepts here. These are incremental progress about all of it. Start somewhere. Buy a book today. Come to the freaking event. Talk to Brett, right? Come to the Wealth Accelerator event. These are little things that you can do along the way to build wealth, right? Like the reason why I'm putting this on is because it took me over 10 years in this business to really get this. Like I was the dunce guy, like Jesus, Colby. So now I'm like passionate about like, guys, making a ton of money is awesome. I will help you. Brett will help you, but you also have to think about how you create more opportunity to create your wealth, right? So super important.
Well, dude, you said, I mean, like, how much have I spent on education over my career? Oh, first of all, I mean, literally, if I said millions, that's a real number. How many books have I read? And I mean, that's not even, it's constant. And by the way, I'm still learning right now. Like I'm still going and getting better, right? I constantly look. I mean, it's different things depending on where you're at, but I'm still out there hunting the next strategy. So now when you're here, right, our sixth pillar that I think about, how do we optimize that revenue? And, you know, we were just at that great event. We were scaling state, and it's awesome. And one of the things that one of the speakers said that I absolutely loved is like, you know, everybody talks about multiple streams of income. It's like, dude, in the beginning, go get one stream and make it a flow, right? Get one stream.
Yeah.
Make it a flow. And then like now when you've got people, process, systems, you understand business, now go get multiple streams, right? Like today, it's really easy for you and I and our businesses to go execute at a high level, right? I can go execute an idea. We've got 110 salespeople. Like I can go pull almost anything off today within reason. So it's not crazy. Like we open an insurance business, we open some new business, but we've got an army to help pull that off.
Mm-hmm.
In the beginning, for me, man, I was just trying to be the best real estate agent out there for a long time until I did it, right? Like I became the best in my space. Yep. Then I added other things. But I think too many like today, like I'm going to flip an NFT and I'm going to do crypto, I'm going to this, and I'm like, I don't even know what you're doing. I think you should do like one thing and go nail that, right? Like so focus, right? If your lane is flipping houses, awesome. If your lane's wholesale, by the way, I think all that goes together. But if your lane's residential, small, multifamily, stay in your lane, right? Don't run off and like apartment syndication. Like, dude, that might not be your lane.
Right.
Nail your lane with scale where you work yourself out of the business, right? But optimizing the revenue is like if you're still in production, like you're the guy generating a deal, work to where you're not the guy or girl generating a deal.
Yep.
Now you've got time to say, okay, that business generates cash without me. Where do I want to allocate my new time? Different conversation. But so we're all about optimizing your business revenue, your personal assets, the cash flows from, do you put long-term debt on certain assets? What debt do you feel comfortable with? Like really looking at portfolio management. You know, as you grow a large portfolio, we have 130 single family rentals. And by the way, I say we, it's me and my wife, right? There's no outside capital, it's just us. And we're really proud of that number, but we've got low debt on it. We've got some long-term fixed debt. We've got some portfolio debt. Debt's a part of it, but it's very managed and strategic. You know, and back, you know, in 2005, when I got started, I was a dumbass. I wasn't an investor. I was a speculator. Right? I had no model. But today I can tell I'm a prudent investor, right? I understand the mechanics. I understand the risk, and I measure and calculate risk. And so I think if you're not looking at that, then the last part of overarching all this, like what's your philosophy on investment and money? You know, I think there's a lot of people that say, don't put all your eggs in one basket, right? Diversify, Colby, that's how we're gonna be safe. And I don't subscribe to that. I actually shove all my eggs in one basket and I watch it really, really close. And so I am the guy that put it all in one basket. I mean, the reason I invest all of my resources into single family real estate is because that's the space I'm in. That's where my deal flow comes from, right? If I was in the commercial apartment flipping game, all my assets would be in commercial apartments. Like I would be in big multifamily, but that's not my deal flow today. My deal flow is houses. So everyone's got a niche and an advantage. And I think too often, you know, investors, realtors, or folks aren't really, really wealthy because they spent their time making someone else rich rather than getting their own philosophy and figure out where that fits in. And so That was just a long rant, Colby. I mean, just winging stuff out there, but it's kind of really been that I kind of channeled like, what are the 7 things that I really look back at my career, what worked for me to create significant wealth. And I look with, my students and people I've been able to help. Those are the things that I talk about, right? And each one of those could be 8 hours of talking, but I really I think that you got to think about where you're at on each of those 7.
Yeah, and I think most of these, individuals watching live right now, by the way, if you're there, what's up? Give us your name, your level of experience in investing in the market you're at. The reason why Brett is here is because he is a real estate guy through and through. And that's the type of people that you need to have guidance from, right? All of you want to be in the transactional business because it can create $10,000 per wholesale or $40,000 or $50,000 per flip. So while you're doing that, to Brett's point, and I forget who said that too, about go get one stream, make it a flow, and then you can diversify what you're doing there. But like, that's the reality. Like, go start wholesaling, make it to the point where you could potentially make $250,000 in your pocket each and every year. Now you have options. That's a lot of money. Now you can do things. Now you can do kind of the Brett model. And again, I want you to at some point kind of shine some light at the event of just like this brilliant note model where is seller financing and creative financing to the best level I've ever seen. And Brett is just a master at this, right? And, to be able to make that amount of income monthly, passively, with no actual overhead or like, I don't want to say the overhead, but no actually, I guess responsibility, right? You're not.
Passive. You talk about your house is passive. You should see debt.
Right.
Let's chat. You want to jump right there? Let's chat about it.
Yeah, jump into it, man.
So, I think about like I've got these rentals. I love rentals, but I want to be very, very clear. Rentals require, even though they're passive, they require some management. Like if you don't look at your portfolio ever and check in to make sure that your property manager is doing what they're supposed to be doing, I think you'll quickly be lifted of some money, right? It won't perform like you think it's going to. And so debt's radically different, right? So I used to believe like, I want to own all these houses. Now I always drive around a neighborhood. I'm like, God, I wonder who's got the debt on that building or who's got the debt on that house. It's like, I actually want to own the debt. And so I'll just give you a really example I use all the time, but there could be a house out there for $80,000, $85,000, right? And we want to buy it. Cole, we want to get a good deal on a house that's worth 85. It said to be 50 grand, right? We could buy it for 50, deal. Okay. Not great deal, but deal. So I like to buy that deal at 50. I would sell it for 99,000. And I say, well, Brett, it's worth 85. Why can you sell it for 99? Well, I'm willing to carry the paper. I'm willing to seller finance it. And because I'm willing to seller finance it, I can approve anybody with really a job, right? I can't approve anyone because we have to use a process through an RMLO, but anyone that has a job can qualify, not through conventional means, but through this third party, which is the vast majority of folks. Because I've got such a wider audience, I can raise the price, right? I've got more supply, more demand for my product. I can have a higher price. So I put it a little over the market. So I sell it for $99,000. And I would finance that deal. I would take $10,000 down. So I'm taking someone that probably typically wouldn't be a homeowner, might have a great job, but may have some credit issues or whatever, right? I don't want people who don't have down payments, but someone with, good job, down payment. That is an $89,000 note. I know the numbers off the top of my head, which at 9.9% interest, which you're gonna say, Brett, it's 9.9. Well, look, if they can't get a loan somewhere else, and if they want to go get a loan somewhere else, feel free, go ahead, we'll still sell it to you. That payment over a 30-year mortgage is $774 a month. Okay, remember I bought it for 50 minus the $10,000 the buyer gave me. So I'm into it for 40 grand, and I'm going to get $774 every single month for 30 years. I'll have a third-party servicer collect the money, which, for all of us that have mortgages on our homes, when you call in, typically the person you're calling is not the person who owns the loan, right? It's just the servicer. So
Right.
servicer will collect that money, they're going to drop into my account. And the return on your investment in the scenario I just gave you is just shy of 20% fixed if the loan runs all 30 years.
If it's come short, it gets even better.
That's what people say. Well, what happens if it pays off year one? I'm like, well, then you crush it. Then it's like 100% because
Yeah.
you guess at 40, they owe you 89. You're going to get 89. So it's like 130% in year one. And so the debt space of all the notes I have, it's funny. I never talk about them. Justin, I look every month and I'm like, oh, one, two, and there they all are. They all pay. Cool. It's about 4 seconds. It takes no time because it's really, really passive. And so I think the debt space if you're a real estate investor out there and you haven't explored seller financing, I think it can be just such an advantage, another tool to add to what you're doing. And we'll go way deep. I mean, we'll get really deep into that, at your event. We'll talk just granular examples of how to do more of those, how to market them, how to sell more yourself, how to leverage just every possible angle to it, and really maximize that opportunity. But it's my focus. I mean, we're in the middle of trying to do 15 to 20 right now. Like currently, I own them. We're out there trying to turn that all into debt today. Sometimes, Justin, you just sell it for 99 and it's cash, and you just make money. But yeah, so the debt space is, there's lots of, there's angles to it, but I love the debt space.
I think again, as a reminder for everybody, if you missed the beginning of this, Brett is going to be speaking. Hopefully we can get him for about 2 hours. We'll see where his time goes, but he will be speaking at Wealth Accelerator. So wealthacceleratorevent.com. Here's the shocker, guys. I made it it's $97 to spend 2 hours with Brett, not to mention Kent and Sperber and Nick Perry and just so many incredible people. If you're serious about the real estate space and you want to get to a level that all of these individuals like Brett is at, you have to be around them. Brett, I think, said it maybe 5 times, if not more, about his investment in coaching, his being around the right people, him being, in being intentional with the time that they spend. Guys, the creative finance space, not that it's easy, but it's definitely not rocket science. Brett can lay it out pretty simple for you, and then it can be creative, meaning you can there's no one size fits all. You can do a lot of different ways to be able to create the note and potentially even be in the middle of a note, right? Where you create the margin, you sell it off, you stay in the middle, you pay the bank, etc. This is real, right? This is something that can build, I know, Brett, you're big on the $50 million net worth mark. I think you've doubled that at this point, right? I think you're shooting for the 100 million net worth, if not more. But, these are the type of people, the Billy. Oh, I'm just going to call you Mr. Billy this time. I now know how I'm introducing you at the Wealth Accelerator. Guys, I want you to meet my friend. Hey, guys, want you to meet my friend, Mr. Billy.
You got to aim at target, right? You got to, hey, not there, on my way, on my path.
That's it. So again, and that goes back to the thinking, how, like, that I don't think is a joke, my friends. Like, he is coming at it like, I need to reach that $1 billion mark. And that's how you guys need to be thinking. So again, get there. Meet Brett, shake his hand. He is a wealth, literally a wealth of knowledge. Just someone that I still to this day am learning from. We will maybe go have a cocktail or two and talk business.
Like gentlemen.
Have our jam. But I promise you guys, you will not be disappointed in Scottsdale. Go to wealthacceleratorevent.com. Spend time with Brett. Spend time with all these incredible individuals. But bro, I'm fired up about this, right? And I know you're gonna rock the house, because I think people need to make the monies, right? They need to make the monies first, and that gives them the options to step into the ballparks that you're in and I'm in, and the long-term rentals, the short-term rentals, the note creation. That's the game, and people need to really start thinking this way, right? They need to get out of, and again, it was me. Make as much money as possible to buy cool shit. That's all fine and dandy. But at some point you get to that place of like, okay, there's more. There's more to this. There's levels to it. So I'm fired up, dude. Fired up to have you, brother.
I'm really excited. It's going to be a good time. I'm excited to be there.
Yeah. I want to see if there's any, we saw there was a huge shout out for you. I think this one's for you.
Oh, Rodolfo, thank you. Yeah.
Yeah.
You got to know your math. If you do, the language of business is math. I wish it were something else, because that was definitely not my language, but you got to learn it. If you do not know your math, right? How do you make money? One thing else, we didn't talk about, Colby. It's a good way to wrap up. We'll take questions as long as, people have them. But I think that most people don't know, Colby. When I talk to someone, I'm always like, what do you want to make in your income? And they're like, whatever, I want to make $1 million a year. Pick your number. And I'm like, cool, that's awesome. How much is that a day? What do you need to make today, though? Oh, I don't know. Well, that's why you're not doing it.
That's right.
You literally have no idea. I know exactly what I have to do today. Like, I am crystal clear on the number I got to get to. So if I got to make another call, stay late, do whatever I got to do, I got to get to my number. So you got to know your math. Like on your P&L, you need to know your different things, right? It's all math. So
it's all math, because then you know where the levers that you need to pull on at the end of the day, right?
100%.
So and most people pull the wrong lever because they actually don't know the math. They always think it's more marketing, more leads, more whatever, but then they realize, oh, I have 4,000 leads in my database. So why don't you just be a better salesperson and sell those leads, right?
Sure.
I would say that. Not a lot of questions. What's up from Scotty, Moses? I mean, Jeff, Jared, what is up, dude? A lot of the Facebook users, I can't see your name, which seems weird. But I wanted to say what's up to all you guys. Rodolfo, Webster, Kay, Mick. What's up, bro? Webster, Rick, Kenneth, Jay Millionaire. I just got to show his name because I think that's awesome. You can never have enough money. Hey, amen. Not hating on you there. We got Gabrielle, looking forward to the accelerator. Awesome. Love it. Again, wealthacceleratorevent.com. Hang out with Brent. Bro, I'll let you go. I know it's late. You got to get home to the kiddos. Dude, thanks again for blessing us tonight.
My pleasure. See you, man. Talk soon.
Later.